From the east to the west, north to the south, yeah, let's come together as one. They say you not there, we stand, if I there, we fight. If we not celebrate, we do it for you. Voila, you forget it. You from Lower Country, you from Maryland. Voila, you from Rewa Sessu. I'm a bastard, we own your people, I have a funny fine way. Tabila, I love Liberia, oh yeah, yeah. Free land on liberty, Liberia, oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. I love Liberia, oh yeah, yeah. Play for me and you, Liberia, oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
I was raised in the swamp, but I chilled with my guns. Kept it on the low, but we fought for the bones. True son of the soil, I'm a prince in my own. Never gonna lie, me, I love LIB. Even though it's
so everything seems to be going well, and everything seems to be going so groovy. This is a pleasant way that we want to welcome all of you to the biggest thing happening on radio at about this time on ELBC 99.9. So my name is Washington Prince Tapper Jr., and you are listening to the program Open Conversation. Open Conversation is a 2-hour current affairs, a program that talks about the major happenings in the country, and we also, sought the views of political actors, private citizens, to constructively develop this country in building the human resource capacity in every sector and spectrum of the country. So this platform is the biggest thing happening in the country at about this time, and Liberia is so proud and blessed to have this platform. Now we want to officially welcome you, and let me cross the decks and welcome my host. Good evening and welcome. It's a new week.
Of course, and it's good to be back on Open Conversation, the start of the new week, and we bless God that He has, we bless the name of the Lord Jesus for giving us another opportunity of life. It's very, very important. When you're healthy and you're still alive, there's nothing you can do better but be grateful to God.
Exactly.
Some people want to talk, they can't. Some people want to move their hands, they just can't. But God has made it possible that we're still healthy and strong and counted amongst the living. So we appreciate God for His greatness. And to all of you who are listening to the show this evening, we'd like to welcome you to Open Conversation. Today is the 28th?
Today is the 28th.
Okay.
Today is the 28th.
August slipping away.
So let me appreciate
September, October. Okay.
Let me appreciate you. You look so good.
Oh, bless God. It's
So
the grace
beautiful.
of God. Thank you very much.
Yes. So today it seems to be a spirited conversation. Very, very spirited conversation. We're going to talk to our guest. Open Conversation has a trend. The first thing we do, we introduce our guest, and when our guest has been introduced, and then we go into the trending issues. So trending issues are the issues that are happening currently, and they're making impact in the day-to-day politics of our country and the day-to-day developments of our country. So today our eyes have been drawn to the court. We're going to be talking issues surrounding the court and the case that has to do with the government and the former Chief Justice of the Republic of Liberia. So our attention has been drawn there, and we have invited Fabian, who is abreast with the issues happening at the court, to be able to talk to us and to be able to give us what is trending from the court. I get back to you, and then we get back to Fabian.
So, Queer, it's good to have you this evening on Open Conversation. Fabian is our judiciary reporter, and she's here this evening with us. Is it 5 or 4?
4.
Okay, she's on mic 4. Okay, Fabian Queer, thank you so much for being here this evening. Just give us a little bit of update. We hear that the former Chief Justice and those who were charged along with her appeared in court today. We also know that prosecution was asking for change of venue. So just bring us up to speed with what happened today at the court.
Well, this morning, former Chief Justice and 3 others were brought in from South Beach, handcuffed to court today. And so initially, prosecution filed before the commencement of this trial, which was slated for today. Prosecution filed a change of venue, and so that has to be argued before the trial starts. And so they both argue in court, and then the judge denied our motion. Initially, prosecution
The
kept
judge denied the
Denied the
motion.
motion
Why
after-
did they want to change a venue? You like to
because
tell
they
our
said
audience?
they center all they said in court today was centered around the media. They complained that we're discussing the issues on the radio, in the newspapers, and what have you. And so they felt they wouldn't have a free trial here or free and fair trial here in Monrovia, so they needed a change of venue. And so
When they carry to Bone County, no media is going to talk about it there.
Brom County is so far.
So no media
So
in
no
Bone
media there.
County. I'm just trying to think about why they're
Yeah.
saying that, the
So
media is
after
talking
that,
about
the
who is
judge-
not, who doesn't want to talk about this kind of case?
Exactly.
Where in Liberia are you going
A
to take
case of
this
prominence.
case that nobody's going to talk about it?
That was one of the questions I think the judge posed during after the arguments, and so they were argued. They had argued upon that, and so the judge has rendered a verdict or decision in that, and so his reliance was from the Supreme Court opinions that said strictly when it comes to change of venue is for defendants. They're supposed to say they are not
Comfortable.
comfortable in
Okay.
school, and so the judge mentioned that if even the case is taken to FOIA, they got journalists there. Journalists will still follow to cover.
Of course.
And so after he denied the motion, they took an exception to the judge's ruling, and so the judge ordered.
What does that mean?
I mean, it's obvious in the law. They took an exception up there to the Supreme Court for denying that, yes. And so the judge ordered the clerk to call for the case, and that was called upon. The indictment were read to the 4 defendants, and they all pleaded not guilty to charges levied against them in court. So pleading not guilty today means for Gloria Scott and excuse me, and her members that the burden of proof has been shifted on prosecution to prove the case beyond all reasonable doubts. And so once they have pleaded not guilty, the case commenced today. But then it was jury trial, so there was selection of jurors in the court today.
Today?
Today, yes, and they had an argument because one of the prosecution lawyers did ask the first juror about the case, whether she heard about it or she have read about it. And so defense team rejected to that and said, it's the same thing, your motion was denied, so why should you come back? And so the judge called them for consultation, and after that, he suspended the matter for tomorrow.
What does that mean? I hear you say that a prosecution has taken an exception to the Supreme Court, but the case has already started. Is it possible that the Supreme Court will hear that their case and then come back and render a decision? And if it is in their favor, will it be transferred to where they won?
It's possible, Titi, as I said earlier, once decisions are being made or verdicts are being handed down in cases, it's obvious people just got to take an exception, meaning they are not in
So
favor
formality
of
is a but what I want to know is whether or not the decision from the Supreme Court now, which is the highest court in the land, can allow the judge to change the venue as a prosecution is demanding.
Yes, it requires that, but in that case, as I said earlier, the judge reliance was from the Supreme Court's opinion, and so we will watch out to see what's going to happen. But despite all that, the case commenced today with the reading of indictment in court, and so that means the proximity as it relates to change of venue will be held here in Montserrat instead of the 3 counties,
Okay.
Bomi, Mark Gibby, and Grand Bassett. Remember the case of Tyrone Brown with Jonathan Williams? It was defense counsel that called for a change of venue because they felt at that time the case was being discussed and journalists have publicized the same thing they related to media. And so when it was transferred to Bomi, remember Titi were
You
always
were
there. yeah,
always in
there
bombing
Tottenham
covering
Bird.
that. So
So for prosecution blaming the media and things that they don't have journalists across the country, I think it was kind of stuff that they had in court to discuss, but it's obvious, whatever. It's
okay.
obvious.
So what happens now? The case has started. You say it's a juror trial. So what do we know so far? You said one of the question, one of the jurors
jurors, yeah.
today. How many?
Well, normally when juror selection is being done in cases, the number is between 12 to 15.
Okay.
And so there are prospective jurors, not real jurors. It's based on questions, interaction from both prosecution and defense.
Okay.
And so if they are completed, like tomorrow, the case will resume. they're going to be sequestrated. And what we mean by sequestrated in law is that they will be at the basement of the Temple of Justice, will not go home unless that case is over. For example, in the 200 million case, that case lasted for more than 50 days, and they were all based at the basement of the Temple of Justice, where they had heavily guided security. That means you won't go home.
Okay, how was their countenance today, the former Chief Justice and the three others?
Well, when they came from South Beach and disembarked from the bus, she kept smiling as though nothing was happening.
Okay.
But I think she has a sister, and that is an older person along with them. You could notice that she's kind of a feeble and looks sickly. And so, but for the former Chief Justice, her countenance, I mean, the usual way, like she came in court first.
Did the journalists have any interaction with her?
No.
At this point, there's no interaction.
Yes, there's something in law that it calls sub judice. When the case is in court, you don't have people interviewing them and speak to them.
Yes,
so when they came out on handcuffs, it was where people took photos and videos, and they boarded the bus and back. So tomorrow we expect them to be in court before 9:45.
Do we know how long this case is expected to last?
All depends. If it's speedy trial, like in my mind as a judicial reporter, defense team really want a speedy trial. They want the case to be heard, but all depends. Because there will be a lot of motions and nobody knows what's going to happen. But normally the court term runs for 42 days. And so if you exceed that, I mean, it will still go on. Like I said earlier, the example as it relates to the drug case, they exceeded for 42 days and they were down there until the end of the case. So probably it's either going to be speedy or maybe some delay.
Fabien Quia, thank you so much for speaking with us. Fabien is our judicial reporter and filling us in with what happened today on Capitol Hill. So, what else?
Yeah, so Fabien, thank you very much. That is part of our trending issues. There are a couple of things happening. Today, we know that the opposition, I don't know how to call them, but the entire opposition has been speaking. They've been talking about this opposition, solidarity. Quite recently, they've been talking about this opposition solidarity. I listened to Ellis Cummings the last time. He talked about even if the elections goes into the second round, they are going to ensure that opposition has a solidarity. But today in Central Monrovia, the opposition had signed up to a memorandum of understanding, and this memorandum of understanding indicates that the opposition community are going to ensure that they protect the watch over the opposition votes in the country and make sure that elections are conducted, and it's the president's responsibility to ensure that these elections are free and fair and conducted without any negative negative signal. So today we saw the likes of Tiawan Gonglo, we saw the likes of Ellis Cummings, we saw the likes of Ludo Tape, we saw a lot of them. We saw Cyril Yenti, Beslo Yenti, a lot of these opposition leaders.
What were they doing?
It was all about signing the memorandum.
So what does the memorandum say?
The memorandum is a document that will hold the opposition together in terms of ensuring that their votes are guided by all oppositions.
Also, when it comes to guiding the votes now, they are together.
Yes.
But they could not come together as an opposition to go against the ruling establishment.
That's the difference.
Is it that they don't have the money to have pool washers in one? If two persons have pool washers in this area, the other people can produce the pool washers in the other area, and then they're going to protect each other. Is that what's
these people are actually they are politically divided. They are politically. What I'm trying to sense is that they've missed the mark earlier in the quest of opposition unity. They've missed the mark. What they're trying to do now is they're trying to politically resuscitate. But I think the time now has elapsed for them. Yes. So what they want to do now?
Disagree that they are trying to politically resuscitate.
But I'm saying you're late.
I think what they it has come to a point where everybody has to produce a poll washer. mind you, it's very expensive. If you are a presidential candidate and you are in Montserrat County and most of your work is in Montserrat County, you have to produce poll washers in Grand Coup, in Lofa,
Nimba.
and Nimba.
Yes.
It's very, very expensive. So becoming a presidential candidate is not just, at the big or in the beginning is enjoyable. People call your name, you're presidential candidate. But there is an expense that comes with it. You must have money to pay your poll watchers. If you see them coming together, what I am, surmising is that they're not politically, they're not together. They just want to join forces now because they want to protect each other.
But nobody will align by the right charo on them.
No, that's what they're coming together. So if you are contesting, I'm contesting, I'm a presidential candidate. If I put one person in this room as a poll washer, that person is going to, and my person is going to protect you also. And then your person.
Because we signed up to a memorandum of understanding.
Now you get it. So that is it.
That was the
so let's
trick.
move on to something else.
That was the trick.
I hope it works for them. Go ahead.
Yes. So today the CDC launched the door-to-door campaign. These campaigns, the politics of our day is becoming so interesting. Today you see, I don't know, quite recently I've been seeing this door-to-door. I have never seen this thing before. I have just seen a general campaign where people do their launch, and talk to their constituents or their supporters about their platform, and they just let it be. But quite about now, I'm seeing politicians going to homes door to door. So
It's
today
serious, my man.
it's very serious. So
Everybody
today CDC launched the door to door campaign, and according to the youth chair, it's a 1 person to 50 persons, 1 person to 50 persons. So it's becoming a usual.
One person brings 50 persons.
1 to 50.
Diarrhea Jehovah Witness campaign.
1 to 50.
No, don't be surprised, because when you're in church, there's something in some of the churches. In my church, sometimes they say, for this month, you have to win 5 souls. So it's incumbent upon you as a member of the church to be able to win 5 souls. That's your assignment. So all of the seditians now have an assignment to win 50 souls.
1 to 50.
Okay, 50 potential voters.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
What
So
happens?
that's what's happening. So over the week, it was a dramatic event between Senator Nukwe and Honorable Nathaniel McGill. They were able to come together and to smoke peace pipe. This on Saturday, there has been this misunderstanding between the both, and they support the president's agenda in Mark Gibby. So I think over the week they were able to come together, and they have been able to unite themselves to be able to tell the Markibians about the president's agenda. It hasn't been going well between the two folks, but I think it is all resolved now. They are moving good, and everything is okay between Honorable McGill and Senator Emmanuel Nukwe. So it is good with them. Markibi is going good with their union, and thanks to Representative Tampawisa Tampoe, excuse me.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So this representative invited the Liberia National Police in Markibi County, and he built a very decent police depot, a police station, or I don't know how it was, a depot, I think depot, and he built it. Invited the IG Patrick Suru. Patrick was there. And the police thank Representative Tampoe for such a wonderful work that he did, and he committed that to the government, and he turned it over to the Liberia National Police. And so the people in Markibi, Lower Markibi, in the Douazon area, and some part of District Number 6 and all of that, can benefit, from the construction of that police depot. So
What did the IG say? That's what I'm interested in. Because having the police depot turned over to the government has to provide police people to operate that depot. So what?
I listened to the IG. He welcomed the idea by the representative Tampoe, and turned over to him. I listened to him when he spoke. He eulogized them. He praised them. I think there were 2 and he also commit the government's attention to that police depot.
Okay, great
was-
initiative
yes.
by the lawmaker because crime is an issue. So if you have a police station that is turned over, built and turned over to the government, we thank you for that. Did we say who our guest is this evening?
Oh, so can we announce our guest now? So our guest, yes, you can.
Okay.
Yes.
Councillor Kanye Wagbala is our guest this evening on Open Conversation. He's the official national campaign spokesperson of the CDC, and we'll be talking about trending political issues. The last thing we're going to talk about before we open the lines, because I think we got 9 more minutes
Yes.
to end this segment. It has been in the news all day today. We woke up to that news that the standard bearer of the opposition Unity Party was out of the country. He left the country this morning. There were speculations that he was out of the country for health reasons, and some say he went to look for money for campaign. But then we spoke with the chairman of the party today, and he told us that the standard bearer of the opposition Unity Party is in Ghana. He has gone there to meet some regional leaders, leaders who names he couldn't disclose to us. He said that he was in Ghana with the economic advisor of his party. According to him, he was in Ghana with 2 officials of the party. I asked him, because I did that interview with him, I asked him, who are those officials? He says he couldn't disclose their names. Who are those regional leaders Ambassador Boaka is going to meet with? Because that seemed to be a very impromptu meeting.
Engagement.
Yeah, because Ambassador Boaka was out on Sunday campaigning. And because we're in the heat of campaign, if your standard bearer is leaving the country for another country to meet with leaders, then the public, your constituents should know about it, because this is campaign time. Remember, he came into the country from the U.S. when we already started campaign. And then he says that, I said, wow, what is the importance of this meeting? He says, he's gone to Ghana to speak with those people. Ambassador Boaka is a very important stakeholder in our electoral process. And a lot of people see that, the prospects of him winning is very, very high. And I'm just trying to paraphrase.
Did he say when he was coming back?
He said he's coming back over the weekend. The press release from the Unity Party said he's going to be there for 3 days. But my thing is, if your standard bearer, who is from the main opposition party, is leaving the country, the Liberian, this is something, and to meet with regional leaders, this is something you should have known, so your people should be in the know. There shouldn't be speculations that he has gone out of the country for health reasons. That's one. And if you cannot tell the Liberian people exactly who those leaders Ambassador Boaka is going to meet, it even gives more room for further speculations. And if you say he went with this person who has this position in my party, and you cannot call the names of those people who have accompanied the vice president, when there are speculations that his 2 sons accompany him to Ghana, because his wife is in the States. According to reports, she's also seeking medication in the States, and so he has gone to Ghana. There are speculations that his 2 sons accompany him. So I wanted to know, who are those leaders from the party. The chairman spoke to us, so he's here. The spokesperson of the party is here. All of the high-ranking officials of the party are here, and then the standard bearer of their party goes to meet with regional leaders whose names we don't know, because Mr. Tape could not disclose. He said he couldn't disclose that. What are you hiding from the Liberian people if you don't have anything to hide?
The thing here is, I think the Unity Party probably they have got to come clear in making the Liberian people understand whenever the former vice president travels out of the country. These are serious political periods. Honestly speaking, I don't think any politician, any grounded politician entrenched with the politics of his country, we want to leave the country at about this time. No politician will want to do such a thing. But if the former vice president keeps leaving the country, going in and out, and his followers, his proponents and fanatics must be able to tell the Liberian people the actual reasons why he's leaving. So if you go and meet regional leaders and economic people and business people and people who will finance your campaign and all of that, we need to know who are those people you are meeting. But you can conceal the information and then leave the people in oblivion. I think the Unity Party needs to work on that spectrum of their information a channel. I think is not helping, and is helping to diminish the campaign message and all of that. So they are giving the people a room for intense speculation.
Absolutely. Let's go to the lines now and take your calls on this, because in the next 5 minutes, we take our guest.
0880-514-096 are the numbers. 0880-514-096. Okay. Very good. Good evening. Good evening.
Yeah, let me just thank you for the discussion. And especially I listen to you on the 2 o'clock news hour when you just of course a chairman of the Unity Party. And he said you're not going to expose our sources being. But it's not true. We got on your show this morning with Solomon Joy and Mr. Panta Jamrat. So who were on the phone with him and called him to give information, and you don't have. So why the people don't be sincere to the ones that feel themselves to go to the United States there because they're to power? You are placing a witch here.
Well, we're not sure. We're not sure whether he was placed in a wheelchair. The only person who can tell us that.
I follow you people personally. They are when the person takes the part of him. And
Okay, all right. Maybe he's a god of men. Thank you very much. Hello.
Yeah, good evening, CSTB and Brother Washington.
Good evening.
Let's hear you, Washington.
Yeah, this is E. Armstrong Wapping from District 5, the chairman for We Are One Ground Territory.
Okay.
Yeah, let me first say congratulations to Honorable Nuko and Dara Natana Faro Magio, and many thanks to our president for touring the 3 countries in the western region. And to the issue, I was listening to the radio somewhere around Bon County when you were interviewing the Unity Party chairman, and he said something, asking 2 questions. I think if President Weah had left this country to go meet with stakeholders in the sub-region in this election period, then we would be boasting of his, yes, the people in the sub-region they are supporting our president. But if you are saying this means a stakeholder and key factor in our election, or you cannot disclose who you're going to meet, why you're going there, even who accompanied him, then I think our brother don't know what to say, and the real thing is, by the grace of God, it will come up. Thank you. Let me get other for the chance.
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening.
Yeah, how are you?
Good.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going through the communication from the studio. But something that I want to ask is that, so during the political season, there's no right for the political candidate or political party candidate to leave the country and go to the country.
But absolutely, you have a right to do that. He or she have a right to do that.
You're free to do it.
I answer your question.
I think he's off.
Oh, okay.
Good evening.
Good evening, TG and Washington.
Good evening.
Let's hear you, brother.
Yeah, thank you, Titi. Thank you very much. Let me see, continue to your many listeners. Oh, what is glory? I will not Titi, I join the conversation from this topic as the couple rule. Oh, thank you, Titi. You know the reason today? This is Ambassador Joseph Boyka, the president of the Republic of Liberia, that will be elected over 1 million by masses in this country. Honorable Boyka left the country for sales, you see. Now, meetings that he went to see some partners, as an investor.
So who are those partners, Bobby?
No, Ambassador go to see.
Who are those partners, Bobby?
No. We cannot
It's a disservice to your people, though. If my political leader is out of the country, I have to know. If my political leader is out of the country, I have, it's incumbent upon the party to let me know who is meeting. Okay, oh, your soul there.
So
That's secret, pa? That's secret, pa? That's secret, pa? Okay, thank you. I'm taking my very last caller.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
How are you doing?
Yeah, thank God. I want to say good evening to you, Brother Washington, and I appreciate you guys for mounting the courage for the analysis. But I observe you guys' analysis always, one-sided. For the fact that your paymasters who led the country, who is the manager for the state resources of Liberia, led the country for 40.
My man, if you want us to discuss, please go to the issue. If you don't want to discuss the issue, then you're not serious to discuss with us. That's not the issue. If Ambassador Boyka leaves the country and we're told that he's in Ghana to meet with regional leaders and we can know who those regional leaders are, it leaves more room for speculation. We'll talk about that. If he has gone with his economic advisor and we don't know, he can disclose the name of that economic advisor, and there are speculations that he was accompanied by his two children, then is it not something for us to discuss?
You need to come with clarity, and then start leaving us in the video, and you're saying all kind of things.
We're not taking calls again.
From the east to the west, north to the south, let's come together. I go. They say you're not there, we stand, if I there, we fight. If we not celebrate, we do it for you. Voila, you forget that. You from Lower Country, you from Maryland. Voila, you from Rewa Says. I'm a bad way on young people. I walk on the fine way. Tabila, I love Liberia. Oh yeah. Free land on liberty, Liberia. Oh yeah. I love Liberia. Oh yeah. Play for me and you, Liberia. Oh yeah.
I was raised in the slum, but I chilled with my guns. Kept it on the low, but we fought for the bones. True son of the sun, I'm a prince in my own. Never gonna lie, me, I love LIB. Even though it's far, when we show we can face it. It's not a prophecy, I know that we can rise again. Holding my hand, I holding your own. United, we stand, divided, we fall. So that's what I say when I come with ball. When I chill on that side, and I get no bro. I got L to the O to the V and the E. If we fighting together, we can conquer this team. From the east to the west, then waving the flag from the north to the side. Yeah, that's joining the team. You go where you pella, you love my crown. Who kill it? Who got shown up?
I love Liberia, oh yeah. Free land on liberty, Liberia, oh yeah. I love Liberia, oh yeah. Play for me and you, Liberia, oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And of course, believe it or not, Liberia is for every one of us, and we talk Liberia right here on Open Conversation. We told you our guest is the official campaign spokesperson, national campaign spokesperson of the Coalition for Democratic Change, Councillor Kanye Ogbagbala. Councillor Ogbagbala, welcome to Open Conversation. Thanks for being here.
And thank you for having me as well. It's good to be in studio. I know we've been playing this online.
At long last.
Arrangements. In many ways, it's quite convenient, especially given the fact that we're moving consistently from place to place. But it's always good to come in studio and to get to at least have a face-to-face conversation. So I'm absolutely happy to be here and to be having this conversation right now.
Great. Where are you from? Did you come? Are you people still in Western Liberia?
Absolutely. Matter of fact, and you'll be surprised that part of the reason I'm in Monrovia now is because you had said to me that, Kanyo, we had a conversation. You're supposed to be here. We're supposed to have the show, and you must come. In fact, that was the summons you gave me. And also, I have been looking forward as we round up the second phase, the major second phase of the campaign, because as you know, we started in Montserrado County. We did all of the districts here in Montserrado. And the first stop after Montserrado was going to the Western region. Today, we are concluding the Western region. And as a responsible campaign, we believe it's important to come back to our people across the 15 counties to update them about the activities we've had in those counties, the reception there, the issues that we're engaged with, amongst other things. So part of that is why it's important that even though the energy levels are not as high as they should be, but we're here and we'll continue to engage, and tomorrow we'll be on the road again. But yeah, that's the shape of things.
Okay, men moving, men dropping, right?
Absolutely.
It has been very long 2 weeks, and the energy level, it has to dwindle a little bit. But you guys not resting. You're going to another region tomorrow?
Yes, we are. Matter of fact, we will be heading to Magibi tomorrow as per the schedule. But let me sound this caveat that, our team is a very versatile, very living, engaging team. And as a consequence of that, and a listening team as well. So we always have feelers on the ground. We're always in touch with our structures on the ground. It's not like we are parachuting into these areas and organizing gatherings. Everywhere in this country, in the 15 counties, the Mighty Coalition for Democratic Change has structures that are on the ground. I mean, directly from the district level down to the zonal level. In every county in this country that you will visit, TT, you will find that there are CDCs, there are structures all the way down to the lowest level.
But that will happen because we're going to elections. So
no, even before election, they existed. So we've activated these structures. Okay. And so we listen to them. In fact, all of the activities, including our regional structures that were set up to support electioneering, they are listening structures. So based on the feedback from them, that's how we're moving. And we continue to amend the schedule if there is a need, but providing timely information. So as it stands, we're going to Magibi tomorrow. And we're going to spend 2 days there, and the plan is to go to Bassa and then to go to Riverside subsequently. But for any reason, if there's a change for whatever reason, as a very responsible campaign, we'll come back and we'll update the Liberian people accordingly.
Great. So you're ending campaign in Western Liberia today. So let's talk about, what you've been up to in the last week, because you took a week. You took a break because of the death of some of your partisans, and then you went back to Western Liberia. So let's start with Bombing County. It's where you started, right?
Absolutely.
How was it there?
Absolutely. And before I talk about bombing, very important point you made. We have been in the throes of the campaign when we lost our partisans, and His Excellency Dr. George Manawia, of course, recognizing that political office does not surpass the value of human life. He said to us that we must promptly suspend campaign, so we did that. We were in bombing when that happened. We came back to Monrovia. We had a service in honor of the young females who are giving their lives for something they strongly believed in. And I remember President Weah saying that night after we had concluded the ceremony that we must give them a befitting send away as people who believed in his ideology. They came from an auxiliary called the Girls for Weah, and they have been in the process of engaging, going to Nimba County along the highway when they passed. And so he said that, and so we suspended campaign. And so we returned to Bomi County. We had earlier started off in Bomi at a place called Jene. Along the, as you move towards Topmenberg, you pass Jene. Mammoth gathering in Jene, welcoming the president, thanking the president for taking the time to be there to engage with the people there in that part of the country. And one of the things that we sounded, at that meeting, a lot of people spoke, but two persons aside from the president stood out in terms of what they said. The first person was Madam Haja Sayon. I believe she's the represented there. She's done, I think, 3 terms. Very super popular in that part of the country. A very strong and forceful woman who other women listen to and follow in Bomi County. She was very emphatic about her support for the president. And she said that there were many things that the president had done that were unprecedented in Bomi, despite the fact that he has spent very less than 5 years as leader of this country. And therefore, she was saying to them, and she jokingly said, in fact, that in that part of the country, when the women decide anything, the men are obliged to follow. And then there was a moment of laughter and mirth. But what was important was the message that she conveyed, that the women of Bomi were firmly behind the president. And she is a bastion of female leadership, of county leadership, in fact, in that part of the country. And then, of course, Senator Edwin Melvin Snow, who is known as the political godfather of not just Bomi County, but also of the Western region as a whole, was also at that meeting. Matter of fact, Senator Snow was at all of the different meetings we held in Bomi County. And he came out very emphatically in Jene, and then subsequently in Topmenberg, where we had that huge gathering. Let me describe to you, because there's something to point out about the Topmenberg gathering that people who sit in Monrovia, and write things on Facebook want to, scully and want to desecrate the good work of the president and the reception of the people from Bomi, and to make all kinds of statements. The president was booing Bomi. And I laughed because I was there. Right? He said the president was booing Bomi. How can the president be booing Bomi? How can somebody?
Booing Bomi.
Absolutely not. That is just
Bomi.
I mean, look, blatant propaganda. Blatant propaganda. In
Nobody
fact,
was booed in Bomi.
I'll tell you what happened in Bomi. Let me describe the president's entry into Bomi.
Okay.
His very triumphant entry into Bomi. And then you mirror that against when somebody says that the president was booed, right? The president got off when we left Jene and we entered Bomi. The president got off his vehicle somewhere around the Total gas station. I don't know if you've been to Topmenberg, around the Total gas station. By the time he got there, that whole place was totally inundated by human beings. It was a human tsunami. They stopped him there. He walked with them from that point. Imagine the distance from there up to the C.H. Dewey Field up the hill in Bomi County. Yes.
That's long distance.
Very long distance. People were like swarming around the president, chanting battle cries, walking with him, jogging with him, and they came up there to the stadium. So if these people were booing the president, why weren't they booing him from all the way there and walking him up to the podium? But what really transpired, and we're investigating that and we call the attention of the National Election Commission to these kinds of provocations. Because when people don't have the wherewithal or they don't care to go to the people in the counties, they manufacture all these kinds of things to create side attractions. I'll give you the first instance. The same thing happened here in District 10. We, as a responsible campaign, we have published our campaign schedule. We have made it very clear. Up to now, we continue to update the Elections Commission and the Liberian people about where we are going, when we will be there, what we'll be doing. We did the same thing in District 10 here in Monrovia County. On the eve of our going to District 10 and 9, somebody came up 2 days to our going and said we're going to have a press conference. Why did they do that? Because they want to foment dissent and to create a clash. Because they have nothing to do there. There's nobody to mobilize. We are mobilizing. We are engaging our people. Let's create conflict and then create a situation that comes out looking somehow. That's what it is. It is similar to what they try to do in Bomi County. After the president had marched triumphantly, joyously, energetically with our supporters into that stadium, they had pockets of people who were there, doing the hue and cry, trying to detract from the ceremony. But that did not happen. Because even on that podium, the women of Bumi came out and they gowned the president and thanked the president. And they listed a number of things, but only one stands out for me in terms of the Bumi solidarity. They said, look, we will not talk about the nursing compound that was constructed here under your administration, Mr. President. That's what they said. We're not even going to concern ourselves with that. They said we're not going to concern ourselves with the fact that Western Cluster for many years could not pay our social dividends in this county, despite the fact that we had a speaker, a president, and the wife of a presidential contender coming from Bumi, currently in this race. President or vice president before from Bumi. We never got that. Under the administration, we got 50% of that. We'll not talk about that. That's not why we want to vote for you. They said we'll not vote for you because the question of the fact that we're broken ground for the community college. That's not why we want to vote for you. He said, look, since 1847, we had LEC now in Bumi County. In Bumi today, in Thurmanburg today, I don't say they say, I say, because I'm coming from there. As we speak, there is electricity in Bumi. Stable electricity that challenges electricity in Monserrado County. Call anybody from Bumi today, from Thurmanburg today. And they said the mere fact that we have electricity in Bumi, that we have not had since 1847. We did not have in 2005. We did not have in 2017. We now have, because of you, Mr. President, everything else you've done, we call it, Bobosewa, icing on the cake.
Like
we will vote for you. And they said that. And so we did Bumi, interrupted by the death of our partisans, came back, spent some time, and then afterwards, we went to Bapolu County.
I'd like to hold you there, and I'm sticking with Bumi a little bit.
Yeah, let's do that.
All you said that, the president wasn't booed in Bumi County, but there was a booing. Some kind of booing was in Bumi County when Senator Setoma's name was mentioned. I was watching the clip when I saw Senator Snow introduce Senator Setoma, and I heard people, jeering. Is it that, the people, and I want you to be clear here, is it that these people had a problem with Senator Setoma, and that it was what people turned into or termed as booing the president?
Well, let me say this.
Of Bumi County excited to see Senator Setoma?
Well, I did not go to Bumi County to analyze the presence of, with all due respect, I respect him a whole lot, Honorable Setoma. I went there in my official campaign, capacity, spokesperson of the campaign. My number one priority is to amplify what I see, the true and the very present atmosphere of what I see in regards to the president. And I'm telling you, nobody booed the president. In fact, the way the president entered Bumi County was so triumphant. And that's what I'm saying. I drew an analogy, and we're analyzing this because we've seen it happen. You know how we determine patterns by looking at consistency. They did this in District 10.
So you think that
we think that we're the only campaign that has been organized and been actively engaging the people. They've done nothing. Look at the record. What have they put out in terms of an organized campaign since the process started? Can you point to a schedule of engagement across this country?
Are you saying the party people planted people over there to cause that?
I am saying,
because Senator Setoma himself admitted that he hasn't done much for the people of Bumi County.
I cannot speak for Senator Setoma. I speak for the campaign. And I maintain the president was never booed. The president received a triumphant entry into Bumi County. And anybody who was there will tell you this. It is the truth. But also in similar breath, I like to call your attention and attention of the authorities. We saw what happened in District 10. When we announced our campaign schedule, it was publicized. They have not done so to date. I have not seen any publication of a consistent campaign schedule from any opposition political party, CPP included. No schedule has been published. We, as a responsible party, have published our schedule. Yet, when we go out to campaign, as we did in District 10, they have people all of a sudden there clashing with our supporters.
So who do you think, which one of the opposition political parties you think planted people
can you
to
put the blame on?
misbehave?
I did not say I know. I am saying we are calling attention of the authorities.
To
That
what?
if there's any, they have to investigate. We are a responsible political party. When something transpires,
You say I'm
we
calling
say
the
to,
attention of the responsible party. You're complaining. Who are you complaining? Is it the Unity Party?
do I have to know? So when criminals come to your house at night and you burglarize, you
Don't
tell
ask
them,
them
oh,
questions.
I'm complaining the rogue who live in Myanmar hot today.
They will ask you some questions. Who did you see? What do you think?
Also, when an intruder comes to your house, so you see them and you know them.
Sometimes you see them because
Sometimes
it's
we do,
open.
sometimes we don't.
Okay.
But what is important is that these things must be investigated. Let them be investigated. District 10, we put out a release. We are a peaceful party. And like Senator Snow said, we were in Bar. On the second leg of our bombing interaction, we have stayed in our lane. We have been a responsible party. When they're having events, you don't see us go there to interfere with their events.
So who did that?
We
Tyler?
have more than enough capacity
Tyler?
to interfere. We don't do that.
You don't know who did that?
We don't know, but we're saying to them, let us be peaceful in these elections.
Were you moved by
We
that?
signed the Farmington Declaration. Let us remain peaceful. Let us stop engaging in activities that can provoke
in any way
violence.
deterred by what happened.
How can we be deterred? The president loves his people. And look, people think this is campaigning. Meeting that we're not campaigning. The president isn't campaigning.
What
The
is he
president
doing?
is an interaction with his people. Because when we started to campaign in Bapolu, for example, when we started to campaign, our campaign we were constructing the Emirates Hospital in Bapolu. That was when we were campaigning. Because you campaign on your tangibles. You don't campaign on empty promises that these guys are bringing to the Liberian people. This Emirates Hospital that I was speaking to medical director that 60 surgeries have been performed since July 2023 when it was open. That Emirates Hospital, that is our campaign.
What was the reception in Bapolu?
Enormous, energetic, loving. The broad street of Bopolu was populated. Again, you know, the president is energetic. He's not sick. He's not frail. He's not, you know, he's just alive and well and prepared to do the Liberian people work. Every step we made, in fact, when we entered Bopolu, he got down from the car. And as customary, the traditional elders had come out to greet him and they did the normal traditional ceremonies. Don't ask me, I don't know about them, what they can be doing, but they can take out the rest, you know, they throw the rest, so they do certain things. They did that. And then the president started to walk on the broad street of Bopolu.
Does he not get tired?
Look, you know, one of the nights, I'll tell you as an aside, right? The president, you know, I also work out every now and then. So I consider myself to be moderately, you know, fit. But there's some kind of exercise that you do, you know, you get on your toes, you do like a quick run. And I saw the president do that. And I realized how fit he is. And the Latin man say, "Mensana incorpore sano." It is a sound mind that resides in a sound body. For you to be agile mentally, physically, you also have to be fit as well. And the president is very fit, mentally and physically. In Bopolu, he got down on the broad street after we did the formalities with the elders. Then the president started to walk. We walked with the president straight up to the football pitch, walk up the broad street, took the road down, walk with him, mammoth crowd behind him, people on the side of the road chanting, waving with him. And then we went to our political rally on the field. And he engaged with the people. And one of the things that struck me about both bombing, and I'll come back to bombing because there's a particular thing there I need to mention. And Bapolu was that, you know, most time when politicians go to these places, especially those that are just promising people every day, you see that there's a litany of requests from the people, right? Because they think that, oh, it's political time. So it's the time we should reap from these politicians because we won't see them again. We didn't see a lot of that. And something spectacular happened in bombing that I will tell you what further illustrates this. When we were in Popolu at the pitch, most of the statements were more of thank you than we need this. And even when they attempted to say that we want something, they were saying, we're not saying that a lot hasn't happened, but we still want you to look the way small. When people speak in that way, they realize that you have done so well for them. I was surprised. Look, that hospital in Bopolu, when I spoke to Dr. Peter George, who is the county health officer now, in fact, he has a team. He and Dr. Peter Coleman will be in Kakata tomorrow. These are surgeons who support the president re-election effort. They are doing surgeries in certain counties around the country. They are going to be in Kakata tomorrow. He's a county health officer in Bapolu. You know what he told me? He said, we've had referrals from Monrovia to the Emirates Hospital.
Why is that?
Because of the expertise. Dr. Lewis, who is the medical director there, was somebody who used to work here at a private hospital here in Monserrado County. This government.
So the government is paying him to be at the Emirates Hospital.
Because the president loves his people. He's the medical director of the Emirates Hospital. Working for government there. 60 surgeries performed there. And they say, I got photos on my phone of surgeries that were performed. I have the stats here. We interviewed them. We can share the video with you of these people who are managing the MS Hospital. The hospital is fully solar electrified.
What did the market women say? Because I know I listened to the opposition Unity Party when they were announcing their campaign members, and Senator Boto Kane, who is a market woman, is leading the campaign for the Unity Party in Bapolu County. So what did the market women say to the president?
This president has done more for market women than any other president in the history of this country. Look at how he has transformed the conditions of market women through loans, through the construction of market. The fact that you even mentioned market buildings today, just today again, at Waterside, which is one of the stops we made this morning in Kwankema County, we were cutting the ribbon at Bo to a brand new market building, constructed in Bo by Liz under presidential direction. No other president has been more market buildings, taking more market women from the day than President Weah. Put them in structures than President Weah. Before President Weah, the majority of the market women in this country were selling their wares in the mud. You know Douala, you know Red Light, you know Rehab, you know all of these markets, how they existed. Those zinc shacks and those stores with the full plank around them. Which other president has taken market women from that day in health hazard than the president? What do you think the market women are going to say? I don't even want to talk about loans. Just 2 years ago, not even about a year ago, $3 million each per county. President disbursed from his presidential fund for market women in this country. It is not about people talking and talking and talking. It is about doing, and doing.
Okay,
and the president has done a lot for market women in this country.
I like that. It's about doing and doing and doing. It seems as though on this campaign trail, like you've always said, the president will win these elections on what he has done.
True.
Is there anything new that the president is promising the Liberian people as he goes along? And I'm sure that you haven't left Monserrado County and gone into the counties. There are other things. Even though these people know that the president has done a lot, there are things that the people are still, asking the president, please do this. Has the president made any promise to the people of the Western region throughout the time you were there?
He has, and we trust you to know that not a lot is different in terms of their needs.
Okay.
It's more or less in terms of the magnitude of their needs. And one thing the president said, and I just wanted to round up on what we've done in the region. And also one of the reasons that I've stayed away from talking about manifesto is going to be released very soon in the lead up to September 7th, when we officially launch our campaign in Monserrado County.
Okay.
So that's why we're trying to manage the conversation around that. Okay. But again, we're going to, as usual, we are trendsetters. All of them they haven't produced anything serious about where they're going to take the country. We produced a proper agenda saying what we wanted to do and what we've done. We're going to produce the next agenda that shows how we want to put Liberia on a path to becoming a middle income country under President Weah. So in the Western region, we did Bapolu. People ecstatic and happy. Today, we started off with Cape Mount yesterday.
Okay.
So, firstly, let me talk about this unique event I was talking about Bomi as we close the Bomi and up, and then we move to Cape Town. So, we ended the day in Bomi at a place called Bajake. And this is a place that for many, many years have been asking to be uplifted to the realm of becoming a township. And that can only happen through legislative action. And as you know, if a township is created, what it does is that it allows for budgetary allocations to be provided, and thereby you have development coming specifically to that area and not as part of a bigger area. For many days, they have been asking for this. And many leaders are come and gone.
The Bajake.
The Bajake.
Oh, Jake. Is it in Bomi?
It's in Bomi, on the Bomi side. You know, there's bar the Bomi side and there's bar on the Cape Town side.
Okay.
Right. So on the Bomi side. And we were there, look, Titi, that place was locked down. You know, it's one of the most populated areas within the Sinje area, right? Locked down. The president was the one who was able to confer township status on Bajake. Never happened before.
What does that mean?
It means that now, as we move towards the budget year, Bajake, within the framework of Bomi County, we have like allocations that can attack issues that they need in their community, whether it be their local schools, their local clinics, their own officials. In fact, the town chief now has been elevated to a commissioner as a result of that. Right there in Bajake.
What was the reception?
Ecstatic. And I'll tell you something that happened during that program. For the first time I've seen on the campaign trail, the first time I've seen this, the people of Bajake presented $50,000 Liberian
Oh my God.
to the president as their contribution to his campaign. I've never seen it everywhere we've gone so far. I'm telling you, they presented 50,000 because I think it was a question of appreciation. Like I was standing there, others were there, people were like surprised.
So sweet.
We did not see that coming. We have not seen it in Monserrado County, which is arguably the more affluent county, right? At least in terms of resources. We are not seeing it all across the other places we've gone, but it was in Ba that they came up with $50,000 Liberian dollars. And they called the campaign manager up, and my boss man, and he collected the 50,000 and he deposited it and he told them thank you. But I think that level of appreciation, even when the women leader there, the woman leader spoke, she said, look, we got plenty of things to talk about and probably can never finish. In fact, those are her words. But today, we just want to tell the president, thank you for elevating our community. And that's how we rounded up Bomi. And then we moved to Cape Town.
That was so sweet on their part.
Well, I think it just tells you what the quality of leadership can do if you provide for certain things. Sometimes just fulfilling your role as a leader is sufficient for our people. So now it's not just about giving them money, giving them extra stuff, but doing the things that matter to them, that can change their condition. Ba now has a commissioner. Ba will get a budgetary allocation. Even if that allocation is not a lot, they know that there is something there for them, that they can administer working with their representative to ensure that the conditions in that community change. And who made this happen? The president. We went to Cape Mount, similar thing. We started off in a place called Vonzua, right? There, all of the leaders, and one of the things you find, there's the current representative who's not aspiring to be a senator, who was not a citizen before, Honorable Soni. Honorable Soni now has declared for the president.
Is he running to be a senator?
He's running to be senator, one of the most popular persons in Cape County.
Okay.
He's declared for the president. Never used to be, a citizen before or never supporting the president. But his statement was clear. He said, look, I see things happening in my county that we from this region have produced people who are in power, just like Bomi. Bomi had a president for 12 years. They never got LEC. They had a speaker for almost 10 years. They never got LEC. They had the wife of a sitting vice president for 12 years. They never got LEC to that place. It took a George Weah to come in 5 years and take LEC to Bomi County. Cape Mount,
excited. Okay, let me ask you this question. I know that you have, and tell me about your candidates in those three counties you visited. Are you supporting certain candidates, or does the CDC have candidates in all of those counties apart from the ones who are already at the legislature?
Well, that question is aptly placed to the party. As you know, I speak for the campaign, and the campaign primarily is for the president's re-election efforts and the vice president's re-election efforts. The party can speak to the candidates that are on the party ticket, but what I can say generally is that as a party, we are working cohesively to ensure that we present a united front. As to the
ground details, this question, because I hear you talk about Representative Sunni. What I see these days is that most times when the president comes out on his trill, you see people who are also not on the party's ticket, but they're running in those districts. They come out to support the president.
And I think also is a testament of the kind of person that the president is. And you know, sometimes people be like, people will get up, what are the other parties, and say, look, we want to support the president. We see what the president is doing. We see how he's impacted our community, and we'll support him. You can tell people, say, don't support the president. They will support the president. Do I know these people? Not necessarily. But I think it happens as well. But again, in terms of the candidate being fielded by the party is more aptly placed to speak to that. But like I told you before, even when you raised the Setuma issue, my eyes are more trained on the happenings around the president and the vice president as we move into these campaigns. And to the extent that anything impacts upon them, it becomes my business. All right. But I can speak to the different candidates. The reason I mentioned Representative Sony is simple. He never supported us before. He supports us now. And he supports us because he's realized what the president has been able to achieve in so short a time. And therefore, he believes that it's better to have the president now because it's better for his county. So we did Bonzoa, and that's where we started off, and then we went to Rubber Sports, which is where we slept last night when you were telling me that I must be here by all costs to know, otherwise there will be hell and high water to pay. And here I am. So we were in Rubber Sport again. Serious reception from the folks in Rubber Sport. Had that, a political rally at the field in Rubber Sport. More pledges of loyalty. People, coming out and thanking the president and saying that they're going to support him, amongst other things.
Has your conviction level gone higher?
In terms of
winning on the first ballot?
Well, we've been very clear from the beginning, all right, and at risk of sounding redundant, which seems to be irking our folks in the opposition, and therefore they've been making some very reckless statements, which I choose to ignore at this point because we're talking about what we are doing. Rather, is that what I've taken away from the Western region is that President Weah is unbeatable in the Western region. That is the key takeaway. Everything I've itemized here with you, looking at Bomi and the bringing of ELBC to Bomi since 1847, you know the impact of electricity on the livelihood of a people. Just having electricity, it leads to many other dividends. And they could not get this 12 years when they had a president from Bomi. They could not get this 12 years when they had a speaker from Bomi. A vice, I don't know how they can call the first lady to the vice president from Bomi. 12 years. They could not get this. They took Igbakube to come and bring ELBC. Who can compete with that?
So
no one.
We keep hearing.
Now let me come. I still want to answer your question. You say whether we're still confident. We are supremely confident in our first round victory. In Bapolu, now Emirates is the JFK of the Western region. Before, people used to be running the redemption, running the JFK. Nobody doing that now. The people in Bomi are running to Bapolu. The people in Cape Mount are going to Bapolu for surgery. That hospital runs on solar power, not even ELBC. So 24/7 there's electricity at the Emirates. And people are just wicked in the way they lie in this country, TT.
What do you mean?
Before I went and observed myself, I had the data and I do research. I'm a lawyer, that's my background. I do research before I speak, and I tell people, I don't speak propaganda, I speak facts. I look for evidence of the things that I say. So when we were talking about, first they will say, oh, there's no hospital. 1847. You people didn't think that Babolu deserve or that region deserve that type of hospital. The president, through his private initiative, not by budget, by his own private initiative, went to the Emirates, a place he played before, and they asked him, what do you want? He said, come and build a hospital in my country. They're not like doing budget build a hospital. Foreign money because of the president Google that built a hospital. When they say he could have said, give me car, give me horse, give me this, give me money. He said, build a hospital for me in my country, state of the art, with all of the equipment you can think of. Right? And when they say, where do you build it? And that's why I tell people, I say, President Weah is not a regionalist or an ethnicist. He's not somebody who's looking to just do things for people because they are related to him. You could have said, go build it in Southtown, because that's where I come from. Or go carry it to the southeast, because where I come from. He said, no, take it to Bapolu, because that whole region lacks that. Today, that hospital sits there. When we talk about it, you know what they used to say? They say, oh no, the building is there. Because they get people there, the hospital are just building. So I went to see this place that they just call a building. I was surprised that a privately trained doctor like Dr. Lewis is the medical director at Emirates. And I asked him, I said, Dr. Lewis, you actually work here? He said, what? I live here. The hospital is here. There is a morning complex right behind the hospital. That's where the doctors live. Dr. Peter George, London trained surgeon, performing operations at Emirates. There.
So you believe the people are convinced?
No, nobody can compete with the legacy. No, in the Western region, Georgia already got legacy. You know, when I speak to the president, when I speak and hear the president speak, and he keeps talking about, I want to leave a legacy. Sometimes I say this guy is an overachiever. Because there's already a legacy. Nobody can take the Emirates Hospital from Babolu County. 20 years to come, 30 years to come, it will be there. Who built it? George Weah. Nobody can take the fact that the first time LEC, the people saw certain power in Birmingham County, it was George Weah who carried it. 30 years, 40 years to come, it will be George Weah who carried it. So then we say the Bible answer 1847, then they say we won't make it. Who else has done these things that the president has done? Nobody. The records are there. And you want to tell me that in the Western region, you the journalist, need one person who can go to that place and convince the people based on what they have done compared to what I've just told you. Need one. There's no one. Simply no one. We are marching. No, we're not marching. We are galloping into a first round victory. I can tell you that for a fact.
Okay, that's just the first region. You've left Montserrat County. The Unity Party is in Montserrat County.
Are they?
They're campaigning in Unity Party.
I thought they were in Ghana.
The Senator is in Ghana now, but
okay.
They've been campaigning for the past week. The only thing is that we don't have a schedule for the Unity Party. We just hear that.
But you guys are the journalists. Why you don't ask them why isn't there a schedule?
They should produce a schedule. We didn't ask you for a schedule, and it was.
Well, you have a point
So
there.
they should put it up, but we haven't seen that. They're in Montserrat campaigning now. You're in the Western region. When you leave the Western region, they might go there, and we might see something else in that region. So don't be so sure that all the people who are coming out because they're going to elect President Weah as President of the Republic of Liberia. President Weah always says that we should let everybody wait until he's finished with his second term, and then we can compare Ambassador Boaka's 12 years with his 12 years. Why is that necessary?
But does Ambassador Boaka even have 12 years? I mean, what is his...
He was vice president for 12 years.
Then let's look at his vice presidency. What did he do there? What is his record there?
Do you think the Liberian people are convinced that Ambassador Boaka can do nothing better for this country? I heard him speak yesterday, And he even threw jibes at the people who were in the Unity Party and says that people came from America to help the party, but it didn't do well. He stands out as one of the best because he refused money. He named Money Captain as one of his one of those persons who knows about that. So he has a very clean character. What will you say to that?
One of the things I've done since commencing this assignment, which I've happily done so far, to be able to tell the success story of development in Liberia over the last 5 years under President Weah. One of the things I've done is to stay away, to some extent, from engaging on the character. To the extent that the character is not involved with the issue, I stay away from the character. But if the character intersects with the issue, then it becomes the issue and not necessarily the character. You claim that Vice President Boka says that he was in government for how long? 12 years?
Yeah, the immediate.
And the hands are clean?
Obviously.
And so he did nothing there?
No, people took money and he doesn't like
So he was just sitting by himself, not doing anything, not taking money.
What belongs to him, and even if he was offered more, he refused.
So what was his role as vice president?
He was assisting the president.
And he was president of the Senate.
He said he was not a senator.
He was a president of the Senate. Same Senate that passed 66 bogus concession agreements.
He said he had nothing to do with that.
So he was just observing, doing nothing.
Of course.
And he took salary for what? 12 years? Just observing and doing nothing?
Because he was the vice president.
So, and he couldn't muster the courage. Where I come from, when you disagree, you resign politically. So he sat there year one, doing nothing, observing and doing nothing, keeping his hands folded.
You think he should?
And taking salary from January 2005 to December 2005. Then he was getting angry because opportunities were being squandered in 2005. 2006, he was still there. A Parker opportunity being squandered. He took his salary from January 2006 to December 2006. Said nothing, did nothing. Then we went to 2007. January again. Took his salary, kept quiet, said nothing, did nothing until December. He did that for 12 unbroken years. And then in the 12th year, he decides to be president. Then he said, oh, I got nothing to do with anything here. Look, there are many things we can criticize about the Unity Party. There are many things we can criticize about President Sirleaf. But one thing you will not criticize about President Sirleaf is that when she took her position, she took her position. She was very clear in terms of her positions about what she would do and what she won't do.
What do you mean?
What we mean is that as a leader, you have to be decisive. You have to be honest. You have to be transparent. And that's why you see President Weah, he's very honest in all he does. When President Weah has a position, the country knows. When he takes a position, the country knows. What he supports is very clear. Unlike what you're saying now. How can you convince me you work for a company 12 straight years and you're just there? You say you're doing anything, you're part of anything, but you take salary for 12 years.
You think it's
have you seen the budget of the vice president of the country? You have to do nothing? Is that what you're telling us?
So he never had an opportunity to.
Now, right?
Now you want to be the head so that he makes.
So why didn't he leave?
Good question.
For him, to the people, all of those.
He should have left that position, and then he will have an opportunity to stand out.
But serious people with integrity who claim to have integrity, when you disagree and there's no way to express your disagreement, you resign. That's the same thing with political appointees. When you come to government and you are appointed by the president, you operate at the sole will and pleasure of whom? The president. When you disagree with policy, you resign. That's how you say to people, for example, Tiawan Gonglo. Tiawan did this in this country, because Tiawan Gonglo did this. You privy to that, right?
Of course.
When he disagreed, he was labor minister, and people in the country said he was stupid because he was leaving a government job, but he resigned. And the records show that it was on the basis, whatever his disagreement was, he resigned. Why didn't Boka leave 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010? 12 solid years in government collecting salary, and you enter it, then you want to come and tell us that you ain't got no part to play in anything? So where is your record to speak of in the first place? You see, we digress. Like I tell you, I don't deal with the person issue. I like to deal with the issues as they are. Because like President Weah said to us, there is so much we have to talk about in so little time. There are things that we've done unprecedented in this country. I've stayed away. Look, going forward, it's going to be difficult for you to hear me talk about free education. You know why? Because there's so much else I'm discovering as we move into the campaign. Everywhere I go,
is there anything
that we can talk about that we don't need to keep talking about free education?
Yeah, but even the Unity Party is talking about free education now.
Oh, now they want to join us?
Obviously, Ambassador Boaka, I heard him say that people who are from elementary to high school, they're going to have free education. No child is going to be in the street selling during school going hours, even though in 2005 that policy was initiated by the Unity Party, but nobody got arrested though. So there are still all of the things that the CDC is doing. The Unity Party, when they go out to campaign, are the same things they're telling the Liberian people that they're going to do. That's why I asked whether there are other things the CDC government intends to do for the Liberian people that we don't know about.
Look, macroeconomic development, and you're taking me to a different level, because within certain key thematic areas, they don't change for the most part. Right? It's just about the dynamism or the innovation you bring to how you do it that tends to change. For example, macroeconomic development of any country will reside within how you do education, what kind of healthcare you provide, the type of infrastructure you build, how you invest in the youth and your future, the technology angle, all of those things. They don't change. I don't care. However, how you manage the resources of the country and deploy them for national growth, they don't change. How you do it is what changes. When Joseph Boyka and others were in power for 12 years, they never did think that a free tuition policy will increase enrollment in the other public universities. I don't know whether they thought or did they even care it will happen. When the president came out with this pronouncement, you know what they said? They have all of the negative things to say about this. It won't work. The university will collapse, and it's not a sound policy. Why are they doing this? It's a welfare state. They try to create. You know, when they read all these books, they just spout theories, and they don't care about the impact of theories on the ordinary people. But President Weah was not moved by that. He was dogged. He said, "Look, I have said, there will be free tuition at the tertiary level in public universities." He told the technicians, "You'll make it happen. If there is money to do all kinds of other things, there must be money to provide this for my people." And they made it happen. It happened since he made that pronouncement. And when people answer, why are we so confident in our first round victory? It is because of these kind of wide-ranging policies that have no boundary. I call it multi-dimensional policies. No boundary. The free tuition policy is not only in Monserrate, it's affecting people. It's affecting people in Nimba. As we speak today, Nimbayans know this. They know that before George Weah, it did not exist. They know that now it exists. Because of whom? Because of President George Manuel Weah.
Okay, before we go to
all across this country.
Daniel, let me ask you this question, because this keeps, raising its ugly head, and I want to know where the CDC stands on this violence. The last time you talked about what happened on 10th Street, but when you were at that memorial for two of your partisans who died in the car accident, we heard that another person died in Nimba County, and another partisan of yours died in Nimba County. And we have a clip that we played last week. We heard Senator Prince Johnson threatening Representative Cargo. What is the CDC thinking? What are you doing as it relates to all of that? What are your thoughts as we go into these elections? Because campaign is getting heated up every day.
That is true. But again, as always, I revert to what has come from the leader and vision bearer of the CDC, His Excellency Dr. George Manuel Weah. As you may know, the statement of the leader is policy. It directs policy. Even before it is scripted, when the president goes publicly, he speaks and he says to a community, I need to see a road here. In essence, what the president is saying is that public works minister, whoever is involved, please start moving in and start to make this happen, because he's made policy. The statement of the leader is policy. The reason I'm saying this is because in regards to violence, President Weah has been emphatic over and over that the CDC is a party of peace. He is a man of peace. There's a man who was a global ambassador for the UN. There's a man who disarmed the Liberians here when people brought war to this country. He came back here and disarmed our young brothers and was preaching peace. He was peace ambassador, worked with this government and the Ministry of Internal Affairs as a peace ambassador in the country. Recently, he made a statement that as citizens, we are not going to engage in fighting and fisticuffs with other people. All of these things they're doing is about incitement. You know, I'll take this example that the campaign manager used the other day. You know, those are all who play soccer, and especially when you play when you're growing up. When you're on the field, probably you'll relate to this, and you see the game going one way and they come and beat you. You know what you do? Grab the ball, you kick it outside, and then, you know, fighting break out, they scatter the whole game. When the game scatter, everybody go, oh. Then the next time they say, you can't play the game again. That nowadays, the good and get a point away, but this time nobody giving no point to nobody. Right? So you can't let play the game again. All these kinds of threats of violence, instigation, incitement against the CDC, as we lead a very responsible and consistent campaign based on our schedule that we have published, is merely intended to create an environment whereas they think people will intervene. There will be no intervention here. There will be no intervention in Liberia because we are not going to give them a reason for violence to erupt in this country. Every time they do this, we call on the relevant authorities, including the international community, to intervene and investigate. The same way we call their attention to District 10 and District 9, what they try to foment there. We call their attention again to what they did in Thomasburg, inciting violence. We continue to call the attention of the international community to these things, because violence does not erupt one day, automatically. It erupts after provocation, consistent provocation. But at the CDC, there's not going to happen. We will not be provoked. We will not lead ourselves into provocation. The president is clear. Nobody is going to engage in violence. These elections will be free. These elections will be transparent. These elections will be violence free. And we will beat them in the first round transparently.
Okay.
So let us go to the polls.
Okay, before we go to the lines, let me ask you this one question. I know that, I'm sure you heard of that. Alexander Cummings was on the VOA. Is it the VOA or the BBC? One of them. He was on International Wires and talking about, the president saying that he's going to win these elections in a one-round victory, and he doesn't believe that, it's because of the crowd that he's pulling and the Liberian people are going to, come out and vote for him on the first ballot. And so, having said that, today we understand that opposition political parties have signed an MOU, and according to them, they are doing that to protect their votes.
Well, again, if you look to, and I like to cite documentation, like I say, I'm always evidence-based, right? If you look to the 2022 Human Rights Report of the U.S. State Department on Liberia, in regards to the exercise of political rights and the fact that people can, conduct themselves politically and otherwise in our country freely and fairly, you see that they say clearly people are writing and saying and criticizing the government any way they want to do so. And we as a government are not interfering with our right to do so. They also say that political activities in our country are going on unhindered by the government. We couldn't say the same for them under the Unity Party government. They kill people here. They kill our partisans. During the 12 years that the CDC was in opposition, many times armed men invaded the headquarters of the Mighty Coalition for Democratic Change. Have we done any such thing since we've been in power for the last 5 years? No. Our records are clear. Look in the jails today. Do you see any political prisoners? No. All of these things are protecting our vote. What kind of language is that? Is someone trying to take your vote from you? No. We are confident that we're beating you in the first round transparently. There is nothing to protect. You have no record. All of them combined. There's no record. Because Nigeria is winning these elections on its record, county to county, citizen by citizen, policy by policy, impact across this country. Where is your record? Then you protecting vote? And you know, when the electorate hear these things, they become aware that these are hungry politicians, simply hungry for power. Why aren't they running to protect the livelihood of the young people? When we were paying waxy fees, they never thought it was important. Why they need to protect that?
Hungry for power.
They're hungry for power.
Want to help.
They want to protect votes, but they can't protect young people and keep them in school like we are doing. They're not going to protect the free education policy that we are going to make a national legislation in the second term of the president, but they want to protect votes. They don't want to protect the Invincible Park that 5,000 people use almost on a weekly basis. Young people go there today, but they want to protect what? Votes. It's about politicians that are greedy for power. We don't have time for that. Let them protect their votes. Our democracy, honor President, we are is free. We have no political prisoner. We are chasing nobody. They won't come stay on Capitol Hill and sign an MOU. We get into it, we get in Chile and sit and sign an MOU. We're on Capitol Hill. Okay. We put people around there, they will guard them, let them sign it. But what we know is that on October 10th, Liberia will punish them for their greediness.
Let's go to the lines now and take your imports. 080514096. Our very first caller is on the line. Good evening. Good evening.
Yeah, I love to say good evening to the spokesman of the CDC. Look, today I listening to your speaker there. So the woman said, all the you were just there. But in the bouquet, he said, I did, and man, I said, so the woman asking that this is a man that I wear. When they child, when they point out help the child, they say that he child. When the child, a man or a child, they say they want to bring it from a different place. So he said, twice you were there. But when they book out there, so the woman got to be sure with all here. They told us to watch up on that into the thing. We too long the road, we see them. They said, we're going to Ghana. I don't know why you go through there and go. I don't know. So you let the people
regional leaders.
Regional leaders, then why they people watch up on the watch up on the regional leader? They should be serious, man. Thank you.
Thank you also for being a part of the program.
Hello?
Good evening.
Yes,
yeah.
Let me say thank you, Councilor Barra. I don't think those things. Thank you for the people in the city. I welcome the president. We can follow him. Yes, okay. So, like I told you, if you spend every person, when you look on the Facebook page, there was a photo taking. People were not coming to session. When you want to win this president, when you fair and square, when you really want to post me on the Nigerian people. So there was photo right now posted by April 14 when I want you to test your research and see what we try to say. They are not there to take themselves and lead the country in the people are going after the political. Thank you for asking. Okay.
Hello. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Good evening, sir.
Yes, yeah, you. Good evening.
Yeah, this is the chairman from We Are One Ground Victory E. Anshon Babu from District 5 this evening. Let me say thank you to our campaign spokesman, Councilor Barbara. He has said it all. Today we have nothing to listen to from these people. 12 years they did not protect Liberians. 12 years they did not protect our economy. 12 years they did not protect our resources. 12 years they forget about our role. Though we are currently taking the role, all those things. But I continue to say this to our campaign team. Not about the person going the place with Fado, but let we, the full soldier, we have the executive group be in power. Like this morning when our somewhere between Majidi and Bon. Look, there are so many lives our brother are carrying around. But when we go there, when we speak to the people, Titi, you can see, but you know, you can't tell. These are the things our people are saying. So we encourage our campaign team, now empower the young people that they go to every loop and every corner in Liberia, because this one round victory is not about joke.
Okay.
Because if we go to second round, there'll be so many things. And we learn that the guys are broad rushing in Liberia. Yeah.
Hey, my man, keeper. Hello.
Yeah, thank you, TP and Washington and South Africa to the studio again. This is Bobby. I will mess up. So I want to come again from this society. Look at appreciate your student guest, because actually the captain spokesman for CBC, what that they did, that comes on the public in the radio station, and many of them did.
I mean, go to the point where you commend him for contradicting himself.
Yeah, I will comment because
I mean, go to the point, go to the point.
One of the things that this is when they want to meet is all the people of the country work because the people know to themselves very well that the president has been doing, because a lot of infrastructure development that we put in our country.
What did you put there in 12 years?
Thank you, the coroner in our country, right?
The coroner there, I put that. You need the party put it there.
We talk about small level, big level, all this is what you brought me to.
Don't give me your. I told you, Bobby. Listen, I told you when you call on the show, we not honor your palaver hot to the university. I told you that the thing before you get there, so me for. Listen now. No, listen. Let's go to the point. Bobby, you put light. You need the party put light in Birmingham County. Huh? When did you put light there? When did the light go to Birmingham?
Listen.
When did that happen, Bobby? Bobby, no, you're not going further. Just tell me when you electrify Birmingham capital.
Listen, I didn't say the whole of Birmingham County, right?
When did you electrify the capital? When?
Listen.
Hello? Hello?
ELBC?
Yes, ELBC here. Yeah, so you're on ELBC. Go ahead, please. What's your name?
Okay. I'm Mr. Sadati Kujo. I'm calling from Sano County, third county on the bureau.
Okay, let's hear you. Let's hear you, Sino County.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm happy for your program. Thank you very much. Let the people waste more. Let your work go for yourself for a second time. Look at what I was in the country. People pay for all of us. But we cannot discuss people that do not pay. Because you're for the side, I won't do that. I won't be a president. I won't do that. No. Let them look and say, who's called? That's who drew up. The only way you can't buy your second, I say, what job we are doing. If you do something, you say, for 14 years, go quickly, you have right to collect the phone. So the only thing, look at it, brother. I'm the GSA asset monitor of Bank in the country. So I know I'm just from Morovia. For granted, the secretary, it's a quarter coming there. So then I wait for them to look at it, man. We are one of you are saying they country.
Okay.
I'm from the third country on the bureau. I'm from Sano country.
I know.
So I have right to get any idea to the state of our country. Then I will not go for second time. Then we can come say it here. So what about our own country? Thank you very much.
Thank you. I like that. They say who score, they say who dribble. And yeah, let's hear you.
Yeah, my name is the I do join from an online resident, a member of the state of Kano Bambala, division number 3, chapter. And
your face there.
Yeah,
Oh,
it is the member of the state of the chief CEO. And now, to the chief himself, our CEO, Honorable Bambala, for the state in the western region. You see, we are very delighted to be part of this party. People who thought on a daily basis, but we tell them that we want to show them that this country is for the young people, and once President we are believing the young people, is being the young people to be part of the nation building process. We make sure that he is victory or he leader.
okay. All right, thank you. You're coming in broken. Let's leave you at that. Let's hear this other person. Hello.
Good evening, PD.
Good evening.
Thank you for having me. Let me say good evening to the councillor in studio, the spokesperson of the city. I'm Emmanuel and Super Tuning.
Okay.
Am I live?
You're live, Emmanuel.
Thank you. I'm Emmanuel and Super Tuning, youth chairperson of the People's Liberation Party of the Montreal County. Let me appreciate the studio guest for his analysis, the spokesperson of the campaign team. You know, today, if you look at the campaign thoroughly, who do you think is really campaigning? Not because, and this is for some folks, they say they want to protect their vote. And I don't know where they have the vote, or probably they have the vote in a container. But if you look at this election thoroughly, President, we are campaigning more. You know, we have been told, as tradition says, you know, they came toward you put yourself in a position of an opposition. So you can fight with the people, make them know that you are not in power again, but you wanted to give President Weah a second mandate. And that's what the president is doing. The president is not going to start the whole campaign. He got the former vice president, he's not campaigning, he will go somewhere 1 day, 2 days, another one, he's a broken car parked in the garage. Another thing, Mr. Cummings is not campaigning. You see the president campaigning, that's why it's incubancy. He's not sitting back to he's depending on his incubancy. He's campaigning. And his able lieutenants, everyone around the country, we're equally campaigning. Okay. And you're going to see, lastly, you're going to see them on September 7th. September 7th will show to the world that the president is going to get a one-round picture because we're going to lock down the city of Montreal, and there's going to be no space for people. Let us see as a holiday for September 7th. Thank you for a 40-minute time.
Hello. Good evening. Good evening.
Yes, hello.
Hello. Yes, sir. Good evening. Good evening. Yes, sir.
How are you?
Good.
ELBC?
Yes, sir. Go ahead, please.
Yes, thank you very much. This is Henry now in a call from Canada.
Let's hear.
This is my very first time on the show. I want to salute all in the studio. Only thing I have to tell you is that we, the supporters of CDC, in the Europe corners and things, that every time we get on the radio. So it is clear in there that we get into the center with so many people to see our best people, we give people our information. Like the fellow where I live, I had the flyers of the owner, or that is the president, and that is just the ministry. I got a 7 different ministries that you can't find. No flyers in that particular. So it's
no what?
No flyers.
Flyers.
So
oh, okay.
Yeah, flyers. So the president got a Tuesday. It's very cardinal that you try about all this, and then send some people so that I mean, when you come in, you can let me know so I can tell you where it was.
Okay.
I do my own thing. I just got some flyers from some people, and I decided to do all. And nobody knows where I'm working, but I know that I'm working with my whole heart for the president, for the church, and the second time.
Okay, thank you. He's listening. He responds to you. Hello.
Good evening, Madam City, and good evening to the Leonard Councilor.
Good evening, sir.
My name is Emmanuel and Wega Jr. I do call from Electoral District number 3, Montreal County.
Let's hear you.
And I would appreciate the World Leonard Council Institute for populating where I relate to the developmental initiatives being carried on by the country general impression of John Manuel Weah. And we are preparing again to get another 6 years so that it can complete what we started.
All right, Washington, brother. Thank you.
We want to say that our support is to remain peaceful as we get towards the election. Thank you very much.
Okay. Hello.
Good evening, Madam TD, and good evening to the Social Money Librarian.
How you doing?
My name is Abraham Political Magistrate, and I call from the headquarters of the Veterans Bureau on the most of the Bible University. Let me appreciate the Canada Barbara, the airport and sport person for the Coalition for Democratic Change. I think he disseminated the information well because right information at the right time to hope to the public. We want to encourage the people again to stood back our 2017 election. We made President George Weah president, and we appeal to you people to be with us again to make another history. The president, one person who loves people, I think, again, the fact that our chief, the 15 counties, they receive vehicles from the president. The issue of the set on the county council. So now power to the people. So we appealing to the people, and more especially the first-time voter. They are tested. So one black ballot coming to tell them how to vote, ensuring that they can vote well. So we're going to get more invaluable. Thank you for the opportunity to get a positive mindset. We give them a better place.
Thank you.
Good
evening.
Yes, this is Joe Henry now. I forgot to share the audio or something. I have some groups on this. I would like for you to permit me the person I responsible to come and lead the group. I just want almost 422 persons here.
Okay.
It's difficult to get in contact with the people that are responsible. I already know them.
He will
So
respond to you, yeah?
Yeah, 8
Okay. He will respond to that. Hello?
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you very much. My name is Abraham M. Kelly, calling for Amagati District 2.
Let's hear you, AB.
Okay. I just want to assure our brother in the studio, and Mr. President, thank you very much. Well, we are already resolved with Marshall come October 10, 2023. We're going to re-elect our president. So, no need of talking plenty because we are seeing what the president is doing. Okay? Hello?
Hello.
Yes. We are seeing what the president is doing. Okay? And the people that are all people, many Nigerians today, they are seeing what they are not saw during the 12 years.
Okay.
Okay. So, in the name of the Almighty Allah, we are praying with the Muslims. Okay, we are praying day and night to make sure President we have been re-elected. And inshallah, come October, President we will be re-elected. Thank you very much.
Thank you also for being a part of the program. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
Go ahead.
Yes, sir.
Okay, President Bala, this is telling you we are calling from East Ireland. You know, what baffles me is that campaign is an official declaration by the law. But then now other people continue to use the word silent voters. How can you be silent and then you win election? So the thing there is, instead of we, concluding the process that this is not something that people should, kill themselves or force themselves. The thing is clearly why we should be forcing ourselves that we want to have opposition, just because we want to have opposition. But
What do you mean, sir? What do you mean?
What is President Mia will be re-elected and everybody knows that. So, but then the difference about silent voters. So when you say be silent, then we need silent until we're ready to come on there. Then to be confusion and everything. So the is, my only regret is the president should avoid, I said it the last time, there are other people who did not work for the president, and the people don't want to re-elect them. So that thing that happened in Tommy should not happen again in other places. That's my advice. So you get to the president let you know, you go campaign like you campaign for yourself, stop putting people there up because the people prepare. Even if we do ourselves, after you get to know that you do that, they will do happy person. Thank you.
Okay, let's hear this other person. Okay, that person is off the line. We will take one more or maybe two more and then we come back to our guests. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you very much. Good evening to you and good evening to the ELBC family for the brilliant work doing for the Lagoon people. And I much appreciate the ELBC family for the 4 years because what they are doing, they have the capacity to manage and sustain the peace under the excellent President George Manley developmental way. Yeah. For the record nations, I'm Poker Rabbit. And I hear from the GNW propaganda team where we preach it and we propagate the message of the excellency. But let me say this to you. And before saying that, I would like to start with a quotation. Hello?
Poga, you're live. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. No, I want to know what I would like to start with the quotations for different lingo. and the quotation says, and I quote, my greater consent, it is not whether you are poor or whether you are rich, but how you are complacent in your poverty. Yes, this is why I like that quotation for Edward Lego. To see the people coming in their numbers with all of the visitation that the president is making, and you see the guys for upper cross, they're in that third room. They stay going around with that Kamikado. It be my imaginations. Let me be bold. Because number one, I can tell you, my brother, even the family for Union Party, the family for ANC, that today enjoying the kind gesture of president, we have prioritization of filtration and payment of WASI. They're not going to lose it. How much family going to pay school fee again? What president we are illegal? That's ready for them. How much family going to pay WASI? Let me conclude. Let me conclude. I can tell you, when I'm not the ELBC, get that one of the excellent president, George developmental oriented we are. Already. That's what we are saying. I want.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Pugme Pugara. Well, thank you so much. Final caller. Final caller. Hello. Okay, that person is off the line. Then we come back to you, Councillor Wabwala. You listen to the callers. There were few of them who have concerns. Most of them, 98%, support the president. But there were few who still have some concerns. So.
Well, I think let's start with the concerns. I think the concerns, based on what I hear, stem from making contact, linking people in the communities with people within the structure of the campaign. What I can say,
don't have flyers in some other areas.
Yes, what I can say is that, like I said before, the campaign is living and evolving, and therefore look to your community very soon. You will see people moving into the different communities, particularly in Montserrat County, to reach out and to engage with the local structures. Also, we are in the process of beginning to energize sufficiently our many auxiliaries. As you know, these elections, one of the noble things that has happened is that President Weah's support, goes beyond just the Coalition for Democratic Change. There are a number of auxiliaries that are not party auxiliary, meaning these are not partisans, but they follow the president. They are Weahans, Manentians, other people, and there are many auxiliaries like those across Montserrat in the country. So we're also activating all of those. So look to your communities. The resources are coming your way at the grass roots level. To all of those who call with the commendations, and we say to you that President Weah is resolved in his desire to continue to develop this country one county at a time, one term at a time. And it is because of that resolve that we see him out there engaging with his people vigorously despite all that he's been able to achieve. I also like to say that while I was here, we've received some information that instead of commencing Magibi tomorrow, the president will take some time off tomorrow just to do some reflection. Of course, probably rest a bit as well. Even though TT didn't spare me that, I'm still here on the clock. But yes, so thankfully tomorrow the president is going to rest.
So we know when you resume Magibi?
Yes, on the 30th. So the following day after tomorrow, we'll resume with Magibi County. So he will rest, he engage in some reflection, hold some strategic consultations, and then we get back on the campaign trail on the day after tomorrow, which will be at Wednesday, I believe, so to speak. But if I'm given the opportunity, I use this to also make my parting comments, if that is well in place. We continue to say and to reiterate the point the president made at the beginning of the campaign. We are committed to the declarations and the tenets of the Farmington Declaration, meaning that we are going to be a responsible political entity. We're not going to engage in violence. We are not going to engage in any kind of subterfuge. We are going to engage solely within the democratic process. And that is why the president has called on all of us who have a pivotal role to play in this campaign, as well as all the other ordinary partisans, to stay away from violence, stay away from incitement, provocations of violence, and to engage, even if these things are brought our way, to refer them to the relevant authorities. because we know they are just all incitement. And also we remain convicted that no political actor has done what President Weah has done in so short a time, and therefore our first round resounding victory is still very much alive and well. In October 10, the Liberian people will repay all of these hungry politicians with a resounding victory for the president. On that note, TT, I'd like to say thank you as always for having us. Thank you for pulling me over here despite all of the other things that are happening. But it's always an absolute pleasure to come here and to be able to share the platform. And when we begin the Margibi leg, we'll make it our business after we conclude the Margibi, the Grand Bassa, and the River Cess leg, which is how we should progress. If nothing changes, Margibi, Grand Bassa, then River Cess, we'll again double back and come here and have a debrief of that particular leg. But again, what I saw in Western Liberia, I think to borrow the words of my brother, is ovin. Is absolutely ovin right now for Western Liberia. So they should rest their case. But it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Councillor Kanyo Bala, official spokesperson of the CDC campaign. Thank you so much for taking up your time. We appreciate that you will leave Western Liberia and come to studio to talk about what you are doing around the country with the CDC. Washington, today what do you have to say?
It was a good show.
Okay, so we'll be here, God willing, tomorrow evening with another edition of Open Conversation. Thanks to all of you who made it your duty to listen and watch via social media.
From the east to the west, north to the south, let's come together. They say you're not there, we stand, if I there, we fight. If we not celebrate, we do it for you. Voila, you forget that. You from Lower Country, you from Maryland. Voila, you from River Cess. I'm a bastard, we own your river, I'm up on the fine way. Tabila, Kriwako. I love Liberia, oh yeah, yeah. Free land and liberty, Liberia, oh yeah, yeah. I love Liberia, oh yeah, yeah. Play for me and you, Liberia, oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
I was raised in the swamp, but I chilled with my guns. Kept it on the low, but we fought for the bone. True son of the sun, I'm a prince in my own. Never gonna lie, me, I love LIB. Even though it's far, when we show we can face it. It's not a prophecy, I know that we can rise again. Holding my hand, I hold in your own. United, we stand, divided, we fall. July 26, when I come with ball, when I chill on that side, and I get no bro. I got L to the O to the V and the E. If we fighting together, we can conquer this team. From the east to the west, then waving the flag from the north to the side. Yeah, I'm joining the team. You go where you pella, you love my crown. Who kill it? Who got shown up?
I love Liberia,